I would do the duty of the opener. A lot of people don't get this. Is when you're an opener, your job is not to slay. Is you want to do well, don't get me wrong. And you want the audience to be like, oh, what a complete show. But your audience, your job is also to set the table for the headliner. It's a fraternity, it's a long lineage of brother and sisterhood. So your job is to be like, it's like you're warming them up. You warm them up, and you get in your jabs. You get a lot of hits, and then you set this nice, perfect, warm bath for the next person to come in and be like, perfect, thank you. People forget that because it's an.
So in what way do they do that wrong? And because the only way I would push back on that is because I've heard stories where like where someone like a feature or even a headliner will tell the fucking opener like, hey, don't kill too hard.
Oh, well,
don't do too
well.
Because that's what that can almost sound like.
Yes.
So I kind of want to unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's different because I think if an opener does that, they're probably not a pro. You know, they might be maybe I don't know where they are in their career, but if you say it's like if you told an opener like, don't do stuff about Whataburger. I'm doing 20 minutes. Your job as a headliner, when you're at that status, you got to adjust and flow with everything. So if the opener comes out and does 20 minutes that are 10 minutes, similar to your best relationship stuff, well, guess what? You're not going to be doing...
Figure it the fuck out.
Figure it out, man. You're a pro. And that's what I learned. That's what I love about ships is these guys I'd work with, they wouldn't do any of that. And they would never say, like, don't kill. But I just take it upon myself, too, to be like, I'm serving them as well. It's not my job to come out and also, people forget comedy has energy, too. So if you come out and you kind of burn out the room a little bit, just a little bit, maybe you're like, I don't know, you're a little bit too much of a show pony. That's not really the gig. The gig is to do well. You always want to do well because you want to be asked back. But it's also your job to set the table so people can come out. Like if you went up before Chris Rock, you're not going to try to kill the room or match Chris Rock. That's just like Mario Joyner, who for years probably still does, opens up for Seinfeld. He knows the gig. The gig is to speak in his voice, have a solid set, and set the table for the headliner. Then the headliner comes out and kills the thing. That doesn't mean you're going to be lame or you're going to do less than what you are. But in the back of your mind, you're also knowing, like, this is a complete evening. You're serving a complete evening of a show.
So, but the argument against that would be, would you not want to put your best performance forward so that it sets up the feature better? So they're already there for a hot room. They can walk in and just do what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
And then because like you were saying before, energy begets energy. Momentum carries forward.
Yeah.
So you do your best, the best that you possibly can.
Right.
Put it all out there. Feature comes out. Kills.
Yeah.
They have to put their best foot forward, obviously, provided they do well, and then now the headliner is set up for only dunks all night.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's semantics too. Because
it definitely is, but I'm curious about that, both as someone who's brand new to stand up, but just as someone who I do like getting into the minutiae of things sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in shows where like the opener comes out. And maybe it's just the energy of performance too, where they're acting like the audience is there to see them, so they push a little harder and they hit their punchlines a little bit more, and sometimes it does them a disservice. But they're giving like closer energy when they're not realizing it's a puzzle piece of the evening. It's hard to explain.
Oh, no, I see what you're saying because the way that's kind of digesting to me is that. You have an opener coming out thinking that everyone's there to see them, so it's not that they don't put enough energy into it. They walk out with a cockiness of that, oh, this is all for me. I got booked for this show, so I can almost get away with a little bit more.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no. You're the opener. You're the feature. Yeah. You need to put as much work into it. It's almost like not the inverse of what you were saying, but it's like it's just a different like another avenue into it. At least to me, where it's like no. You don't get away with as much as the headliner does, because more than likely the headliner is a tenured comedian that everybody knows. Yeah. You're the opener, so you need to do your material the best that you can.
Yeah.
Whereas the headliner, not saying that they're not as, obviously, like, in theory, they're better than the opener of the feature, but, like, they are, they can just, it's kind of like an unexplainable thing unless you've been to a comedy show. They can just get away with more.
I kind of, like, to borrow from Chris Rock, I think one of the greatest comedy specials of all time is his Bring the Pain. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best of all time.
Admittedly, haven't seen it in a few years, but it's great.
I'll put it against Richard Pryor. I'll put it against anybody. I think it's insanely great. And here's an example. Like, say you're the opener, and I've seen this happen. Sometimes guys open for me or whatever, but and then say, I think this is a good way to explain it. Say at the end of the set, to emulate Chris Rock, the end of this opener's set, and I'm borrowing from Chris Rock, especially, like, I'm in the driveway. I'm next to you. I love it.
Yeah.
That is not an opener.
Right.
Don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. And I've seen people do that. I'm like, what are you? Just the energy of, like, what are you doing? Like, you kill, yes. Do your best stuff, yes. But there's a chemistry and there's a presentation
Don't
style.
make them feel like the show stopped with them.
Yeah, and don't make them think that you...
or stops with you.
That you think you're...
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? It's just in a presentation style.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the amazing people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, they are the original sponsor of this podcast, and I could not be happier to continue to be working with these guys. I get it. It's New Mexico. Everyone loves red, green, both. But this genuinely is my favorite brand of chili here in the state of New Mexico, and I love being able to partner up with these guys. They are absolutely phenomenal. Zane and the rest of the team at Chop Chili do an amazing job running that company, and they make an absolutely phenomenal product. And right now, they are running a very special promotional on their Instagram. Go check them out on Instagram. Go give them a follow. And as they post pictures with the hashtag Where's My Chili Challenge, if you can guess where in New Mexico that picture was taken, you can win not only free red or green chili, but also a free custom t-shirt directly from the company themselves. Again, go check them out on Instagram, give them a follow, check out their hashtag Where's My Chili Challenge. Win yourself some free chili, win yourself some free shirts. They are also available in Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, and a ton of other grocery stores in the state of New Mexico, as well as El Paso, and they are expanding out to West Texas. Again, thank you so much to Zane and the rest of his amazing team over at Chop Chili. Back to the episode.